Slight change of plans. I originally had planned to review a different knife, but it's actually given me a whole bunch of problems with a spinning pivot. So I decided I would go ahead and check this guy out. This is the TwoSun TS50. I think the exact model is the TS50-G10-TC4. And you'll kind of understand that in a little bit. But yeah, this guy's got basically two-tone G10. Nice kind of seamless milling there. With a decent amount of texture on there. It's not super polished, so it's great for actually holding on to it. You can see it does have some there, as well as a couple of guys there. Fairly subdued flipper tab on this thing here, which is pretty cool, especially because it cuts down into there, so when it's sitting in your pocket, it's really not pecking at anything, whether you're right or left-handed there. Got a little notch here, which interesting little design choice. But yeah, let's go ahead and actually open it. There we go. So yeah, kind of a big old tall blade. This guy's got well over an inch of tallness going on there. This guy is in 14C28N. I think maybe the original ones were in D2, but this is actually kind of a newer variant of it from what I understand. And they seem to move most of their newer knives over to 14C28N, if not, one of the higher end steels like M390 or S90V. And it's a NightMorning design. Big old chunky guy, but not super long in the handle. Certainly fits my hand great, especially using, the jimping kind of up on the blade there. Also pretty darn comfortable with my pinch grip that I like to do when I'm starting long cuts, because it gives me a lot more control exactly where my blade's going. So both of those work out really, really nicely. You can do the reverse grip, I suppose, if you want, if you're really trying to pierce something. It does have, I'll call them more crenellations, not jimping on the back there. So they don't offer a whole lot of grip, but you do have a nice flat area there to kind of anchor that. So there you go. We got black and red G10. We got a 14C28N blade. That's 3.4 inches, basically. And highly effective. I really do like this blade shape. It is quite nice and thin behind the edge here. Keep in mind that I have sharpened this, so if you're looking for, well, what's the depth on it behind the edge, it's not going to be accurate to exactly what y'all would probably want, but it's around like 45 millimeters behind the edge there. Thought I nicked the blade. It kind of looked like it for a second, but nah, we're all good. Yeah, it's still cutting a whole lot of dead skin off of my thumb tip. So, I call this the G10-TC4 because it has TC4 titanium liners in the thing. They're not steel, and you can kind of see that telltale as it does have a hardened steel insert going on there. So it does, cut down on weight a little bit. So it's kind of interesting that way. I haven't really seen them do that with a whole lot of others. You also have a milled titanium clip going on there, which gives you a decent amount of access under there, and yeah, it has that same scallop that the center line here does, which is kind of interesting. Doesn't really create any super crazy hot spots. As you can tell, it's not super snug against there, which I actually find useful for getting it in and out of pants without, putting enough force to accidentally drop trout. So, yeah. How about if we go ahead and take a look on inside this thing? All T8 hardware, as usual. The clip is inset into the G10 and also kind of attached to a post that goes kind of through there a little bit. Well, actually, no, this guy just screws into the liner there. Something I'm not super thrilled with that some TwoSuns are doing is using a single screw, especially for their titanium milled clips rather than their standard ones. G10's not super terrible, but man, like I really prefer having 2, possibly even 3 screws for securing any clip, just to make sure that any of that kind of clip play doesn't develop over time, because it certainly has on some, and it's never a great thing. But yeah, we got a couple of posts and screws going up the G10 backspacer there, and we have the pivot, which is gonna fight me a little bit because I put some Loctite on there, and this does have a free spinning pivot. I don't like those, but some of them are better than others. Let's see. I thought that was basically all I needed. I don't think I need to, maybe I do. I do believe that, yeah, the center screws on these things are actually T6. This just basically attaches the G10 scales onto the titanium. And as you can see, they kind of have a, I think that's a dovetail joint. I could be completely wrong. I'm not super into, or not super knowledgeable when it comes to engineering, but does a pretty good job. It's got a little chip kind of here at the end, but doesn't affect anything whatsoever. And once it's all fit up and on the scales, then they're super nice. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. So yeah, you can see the hardened steel insert screws there. That's why this thing is milled out quite a bit on the inside compared to your standard liner. And this guy still wants to fight me the whole way. Well, fine. I'm fine with that. How about if we just poke these posts out? Oh, that immediately loosened it all up. So, alrighty. Yeah, we can go ahead and just take everything out there. So, yeah, you do see that it does have a pin that's mounted to the liners. It's not attached to the blade itself. I kind of prefer that myself. From something that, I've complained about a lot of times, if they put that post there, it's so they can shove the blade pivot up so far forward that they actually need to cut out part of the liners to be able to make all that work, and then that makes it easier for dirt and grind to get into your pivot. But the backside, no skeletonization whatsoever going on there. You just got the G10 that you could take out with that screw. I don't particularly feel that it's needed. And you got your ceramic bearings and the nylon cages. Here's your G10 backspacer as well. They've done this on a few of them where they do have the hole there, but it's actually not fully through like this side. It's actually got a little bit of cutout there. With the post, makes it fine, but I guess if you're worried about trying to use your knife as a hammer, might be a little concerned about that. So yeah, let's go ahead and snug this guy back up. It is interesting having the this kind of feature going on with the blade here, where it almost looks like it's what they do with pushing the pivot up with it mounted to the blade, but doesn't actually share that issue. So neat. As with all TwoSuns, it's got, well, almost all TwoSuns, I will say. It does have the reverse detent ramp on there, which makes it nice for trying to slam the thing shut. I should probably grab my posts here. And yeah, they are the same size, so it doesn't really matter which one goes where. Yep, this doesn't have a D-shaped pivot on it, which is, I would kind of like to see that. As you saw, I did have difficulty getting the thing out. I did put Loctite on it, sure. And that certainly anchors it in place quite a bit, but doesn't, you know, fully solve the issue of actually wanting to disassemble the knife. So, yeah. That's something that I wish they had changed when they had done this kind of updated or downgraded design. I'm like I said, I'm not sure of the original design. I haven't actually seen that before. There we go. Let's find the T6 screw so I can actually attach that G10 back to the liner correctly. There we go. And I'll get rid of the T6 screwdriver because that's the only thing I needed it for. Put those screws in there a little bit. It's always funny to me how almost all of these posts or standoff screw kind of things really don't have a problem tightening up and spinning around, but pivots almost always do. It's kind of an interesting thing there. There we go. Yep, it's a wiggle shut. It's certainly not a drop shutty design. You can see it will be just a little tiny bit off to the side there. But, you know, once you actually get it correct, then, yeah, that fixes right up. So, yeah, I do like this guy quite a bit. I've used it quite a bit as well. I do like me a tall blade, especially if I'm trying to cut through a lot of like tall cardboard and whatnot like that. Some people can have issues with a knife blade kind of binding up, but this guy is fairly thin in general. And with the tall blade, it actually keeps my cut going straight rather than making it easier to swivel around and down and whatnot. It just makes my cutting experience a little bit nicer. So I do appreciate that blade shape quite a bit. It's yeah, it's basically a gentle curve going on it. I guess kind of reminiscent of the cleaver style that was, you know, all the rage several years ago and is kind of dying down a little bit. But yeah, let's see. I haven't actually done measurements on this, or at least I haven't fully recorded it down in my spreadsheet yet. So how about if we do a little bit of investigation? There we go. Yeah, 4.7 ounces, almost 4.72. or or elite grams. All right, yeah, I'm old. Whatever. 133.7, almost 134 grams. So not a lightweight, even though it does have titanium for the liners. I think they did that mostly for increased strength. As I said, this thing is super comfortable for doing a lot of heavier use tasks on it. So that's great. Something that I certainly appreciate. I do like a lot of tiny, thin EDC knives as well, but something about a burly knife that's, not like a gigantic tank, like a Medford or Smolder ZTs and whatnot. So, alrighty, let's see. Now, I did do that a little bit before. How about if we go for the blade stock thickness there? We got 3.7 millimeters. So, not the absolute thickest I've ever seen from them, which is like 3.9 or 4, but certainly a nice nice chunk of steel there. And if you just look at it from the spine, you might forget that it does have a little bit of fuller there. So right behind that is actually where the thickest point on the blade will be. But yeah, super, super nice, basically full flat grind going on here. Does make this thing slice quite nicely, even though it's quite burly. So all sorts of awesome there. And yeah, he's a little bit of a thick boy. He's 0.69 of an inch. It's a little thicker than average. A lot of average knives are 0.55 or almost up to 0.6 or so. So it's a little bit thicker than usual. But yeah, like I said, I don't necessarily care. I'm quite the large gentleman, so I don't really have tiny pockets to deal with, so I can put basically whatever kind of knife that I want to in my pockets. And this guy actually sits quite nicely. Because it does have these scallops going on there. It's only at those thickest points at the top of these two ribs here, and yeah, it does a really nice job of sitting comfortably in the pocket. I can still get to my keys and whatnot. Something I never do is put my knife in a pocket and then put my cell phone in that same pocket. I just don't do that because, well, that's the same pocket that I put my keys in and whatnot, and, something's going to scratch the ever-loving crap out of that screen. That and, some more tactical knives. Haven't seen too many from TwoSun, but a lot of them like to put these glass breakers, carbide tips on them, and yeah, that will wreak havoc and shatter the ever-loving crap out of your cell phone screen. So, yeah, that's actually something I'm a little bit worried about with a lot of these tactical pens, because more often than not, I do keep my cell phone in my front breast pocket because I almost always wear polos, and I really do enjoy that pocket there. Some people do worry about, if you bend over fully that it might fall out of your pocket. Might be possible. I've never really had a problem with it, and it's super easy and convenient for it. But if I do have a one of those tactical pens attached there, I do have to be cognizant of the fact that it does have those carbide glass breakers just kind of sitting on one point or another. There's a couple of them that hide them, which is super convenient too. But anyway, yeah, back to this knife. Love it. This is certainly not my absolute favorite design from TwoSun, but it's really hard to narrow that down to one or two when they have probably close to 300 some models. I do realize that their model numbers now have gone over 300, but not all of those particular numbers have been used and or used specifically for knives. Like they have, I think the TS50-G10-TC4 is technically the NightMorning design flashlight, stuff like that. So yeah, I think they probably have somewhere around 300 different designs. Yeah, I really do like that flipping action. It is not exactly, it is one that the flipper tab is a little subdued on there, and it does have some jimping, but they're not super sharp. So you can fail that guy if you're not super careful, or if your fingers are slippery or whatnot. What kind of helps is if you actually think of it a little bit more as a push button rather than a light switch that a lot of them do, and that kind of remedies that situation. Something that I kind of do wish was I do like the scallops, but I do think that it could use with a little bit more thinning out near the bottom there, just to make it a little bit easier for especially like the back couple of fingers to grip around there just a little bit more comfortably. But yeah, I was quite pleasantly surprised when I picked this guy up and got him in and started using him. Yep, as I said, I've sharpened this guy myself. So yeah, the edge on it's not factory. It's basically a 17-degree edge that I initially reprofiled on my Work Sharp Ken Onion guy with a blade grinding attachment, and then I've actually gone back through with the precision edge with the diamond and ceramic to get a super nice edge on there. Really nice and toothy to go along with that. I didn't actually use any of the lapping films on this one, so you can see it's not, absolute nice mirror polished edge, and I can easily go back and do that if I really feel like it. But from what I've been able to see, it's mostly aesthetic in nature. I've tested that sharpening, not this guy, but another guy, with the precision edge to 17 degrees, and then did some cut testing on it with my little cut tester here, and was getting about 150, which, hey, that's absolutely fine with me. I don't need an absolute scalpel, mostly because most steels really won't be able to hold up to that. But yeah, I was getting 150. And then if I took it to the lapping films, got a nice mirror polished edge on there, and still gave me the same 150. And then I took it to my leather strap, and it went down to 145. So, that's right around where those sharpnesses lie for that, which is still a fantastically sharp knife. Just not, absolute thin 12 degrees behind the edge kind of thing where you look at it wrong and it'll roll over like a straight edge. But yeah, still an absolute fantastic edge on it. So yeah, there's that guy. TS50-G10-TC4, which is probably the longest model number that I've seen from them. But super nice and interesting design when they're available, and they're not super expensive. This guy does a lot of work for you, so it's certainly a good recommendation. Well, alrighty, that's what I got here, and coming up next week, I have kind of another older one. This one was the one that actually gave me problems. Same kind of thing with this, with a free spinning pivot. But I can't for the life of me actually open it up right now. But we will take a look at that next week. For now, I hope that y'all are enjoying your day and or night, whatever. It's like 1 a.m. at the moment, so yeah, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching if you made it this far in the video, and I appreciate y'all, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo.